and welcome to another episode of Two Chicks, One Show, where we break down and recap a currently airing show, an episode a week as it airs. That is our normal situation. Right now, though, we are not doing that. Instead of doing our normal show where we take a new show that's come out, or a new season of a show, and we break down each episode individually, it's summer, so we're doing it up a little differently, and we've decided that because the X-Files has a brand new season coming up in January, we are going to go back in time to the early 90s, in this case 1994, and rewatch, or in Kait's case, watch for the first time the iconic series. We did season 1 a few weeks ago. We're doing season 2 today, and if you don't recall, in season 2, we get into the season with the X-Files closed down, Mulder and Scully split up, Mulder's doing wiretapping and Scully's cutting up dead people, and things are not looking good for our heroes, especially when all of a sudden Scully is abducted, goes missing, Mulder has to find her, and over the course of the season, the agents delve deeper and deeper into this shadowy world of government conspiracies. So, Kait is here. You've only seen my face so far, but you are an X-Files newbie.
Yes.
That's part of the reason that we're doing this. One, because you're a newbie and I am a crazy fan.
Yeah.
Have been for many years. I want to know what you thought of season 2.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the first episode of season 2, I tweeted it and I'm pretty sure I texted you that, like, just that episode was extremely so much better than season 1 of X-Files. Like, season 1 of X-Files is cool, like, we're getting background information, like, the world is being established, but, like, season 2 is just so superior to season 1, it's not even funny.
No, season 2 is incredible, and there are a lot of interesting things about season 2. The season just overall, like you said, I think you texted me, this first episode of season 2 is better than all of season 1.
Pretty much. And I mean, like, I can't, like, there was, when we did the season 1 discussion, there was, like, a handful of episodes that I was like, this is just stupid. But, like, I can't honestly tell you, like, one episode that I was just like, this was a waste of my time watching. So, like,
yeah.
I mean, there was a couple towards the end. There was, like, 3 in a row where it was kind of just, like, they ended the episode and it was just like, oh, I guess we're done here. But, like, I mean, it was still fun to watch.
And that's a lot of their cases, is they end up, they investigate, they know what's going on, but they can't really prove it because reasons. So inevitably, several of the episodes end with, and we have to leave.
Yeah, and it's over.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Humbug is one of those where, like, I love that episode where they just sort of pick up and leave and they're like, oh, crap.
But that was a good episode. Like, it was still, like, I really enjoyed that episode.
Yeah, Humbug is one of my favorite episodes overall. There's so many really weird and awesome and crazy-ass things in that episode. I liked all of, like, the actual sort of sideshow history stuff. The Fiji mermaid is a real thing. And those kinds of people actually exist. Oh, crap, what's he called? Is he the Enigma?
Which one?
Or the guy with the puzzle pieces tattooed all over?
Yeah, he's the...
Yeah, he's an actual...
Is he... I thought they called him, like, a geek.
He is a geek, but, like, his stage name...
Is Enigma.
Okay. or something similar to that. But he's an actual geek.
Yeah.
And, and the geeks freak me out. Like, not us kind of geeks, but...
geeks
actual geeks that just eat crap. No,
But
I love Humbug. But let's start sort of at the beginning. So the season starts off in a very different place than the first season. It's them split up. So it's sort of Mulder going rogue.
Yeah.
First few episodes. I really like the first episode a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun and interesting and kind of crazy. And when all the sensors and stuff go off, that freaked me out the first time. I think I jumped.
Yeah, probably.
So that episode's really good. And then I have to ask, because this is a question. I had to come around to this episode. Did you like the host?
No. That's the one with the thing that's in the poop, right?
Yeah, it's the Fluke Man episode.
Yeah, that one was gross. Like,
yeah.
It gave me the Peeveys. There was a couple actually this season that were just like, ugh.
Yeah. The host always comes up in a lot of conversations because I think a lot of people like it, and I actually do now, but it took me like 2 or 3 times through the episode to get past the grossness of the fluke man and into like oh no, that's actually kind of an interesting story and I like it and the acting is good and blah, 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 fluke man.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. When earlier when we were talking about season 1, we brought up the technology a lot, and I think the technology is definitely something that comes up when you're watching an old show like this. And there's an episode early in this season called Blood, which is the one that I kind of wanted to be like, oh, wait till you get to this one, because it's sort of like season 2's Ghost in the Machine, where all the things with like digital readouts.
Yeah.
Tell you to like kill things, and I'm just like, all of this stuff looks horrible.
Yeah, like they go to the grocery store and she scans something. It's like, and like goes crazy and all that. Yeah, it's very 90s technology. But like, I guess if you're watching it, when you watched it in the 90s, you were like, oh my god, this is crazy. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just a totally separate experience, and I think a lot of times that the technology and sort of the very 90s-ness of some of it sort of pulls you out.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I want this show to be something that like I can get everyone to watch forever, and it's one like every time I watch it, it gets a little further away.
Yeah. And
I sort of realize that, oh crap, people are gonna not appreciate the show in like 3 years.
I forget the name of the episode. It was the one where they were I think it was the colony. And then Colony, and then it was a to be continued into Endgame, and it's just like the Colony is just pretty much Mulder and Scully playing phone tag, and it was so annoying to me because I was like, this would never happen now. There's no way. It was like, hey, it's me. Like they don't even have caller ID. Like it's like, hey, it's me, Scully, or hey, it's me. Missing. Am I unfrozen?
No, you're good now. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, so it was just like a constant episode of phone tag, and I was just like, oh my god.
And that's also something I just recently, in addition to X-Files, I was watching Friends, and it's around the same time period, and the same thing. Like there are so many jokes and so many things that rely on answering machines or people missing messages or not knowing who's calling and not having call waiting, things like that. That it's just they don't make sense in this world, and luckily like you and I still were of the age where we still remember sort of how that used to work, like when you had to memorize all your friends' phone numbers and things, but we're so far removed from that now that like some of the plots just don't work.
I think Mulder says like, if you're screening your phone calls, like no, like I bet you like if you ask like a 14-year-old, hey, do you screen your phone calls, they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? So like, there's like, that's a problem with some shows that try to be topical, I guess. But it does age you.
It's sort of what happens though on TV. Like, we're going to watch shows that are on right now and in 10 years and be not confused, but be like, oh, haha, remember when we had those stupid cell phone things?
Yeah.
Now we just call on our earphone. You just tap the ear, and it's just I don't know what the future's going to be. I don't do that. But yeah, I mean, and I think that's just a danger of just movement, technology, and how exponentially fast it's growing, especially these days where things from 10 years ago are completely obsolete at this point. You watch relatively recent shows, and it's just like, oh wow, remember that? You get these shows from the late 90s, and they're talking about like AOL or things that just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But speaking of Colony and Endgame, that sort of brings us to what season 2 ends up signifying for the X-Files, which is season 1 had the alien thing throughout. They encountered alien stories, and Mulder is of the belief that his sister was abducted. But season 2 is where we actually hit what becomes the X-Files mythology.
Yeah.
It starts with Scully getting kidnapped.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, season 1 was just like episode to episode, whereas this is the first time in season 2 where you have the continuous storyline throughout every episode of, you know, the government's hiding stuff. We have to figure out, we have to let the people know that there are aliens, within also having, you know, the monster of the week kind of things happening. So there's a bigger picture where I didn't see so much in season 1 as now I'm seeing in season 2. So that's interesting, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, I think it's part of what makes me like season 2 more, is that even though the mythology episodes are never my favorite from certain seasons, this season I really do like the early ones, the Dwayne Barry and Ascension in one breath, the start of the mythology. Like, I'm not such a huge fan of Endgame and Colony, which introduced sort of the alien clones that you have to stab in the back of the neck. Never really cared for those episodes, and I like the finale, but the mythology episodes are never really ones that I cite as my favorites. But the mythology storyline, like having that interwoven sort of storyline going through the seasons, I think really helps to sort of heighten the story itself.
I agree.
Yeah, but I think that their stronger episodes are always going to be the Monster of the Week episodes, the ones that, you know, posit something funny or something really interesting where they, like, question, you know, humanity or, you know, things like that. Like, those are always going to be the best written episodes, like, standalone. But the seasons themselves, I always judge by the mythology. And I don't know, because I'm not, like, a crazy TV historian, but I don't know if the X-Files, I mean, I think the X-Files was really sort of a game changer in that regard, where, like, you know, you had your anthology shows like The Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and stuff, and you had, you know, longer stories. And I feel like a lot of TV up to that point didn't have so much this, you know, interconnected storyline throughout them. I don't know. People who know more about 90s television than I do, please tell me if I'm right. I will be very happy if I am, and I've lived to learn if I'm not. But I feel like that the X-Files is sort of, it's a game changer in a lot of ways, in bringing science fiction to network TV and to, like, sort of the masses, but also in this sort of the way they structured things, because they managed to find a balance between the mythology episodes and the Monster of the Week episodes, and that really started in this season. And, you know, we wouldn't have a lot of the shows I think we have now if it weren't for the X-Files, which also means that the X-Files are indirectly responsible for the things I hate about TV today, but we'll leave that. So my question is, how are you feeling so far about the mythology? Is it really weird? Because it's going to get weirder.
I mean, I don't think it's super weird. I think Scully had to be. We'll talk about this a little bit later with my problem with Scully and always kind of being taken or kidnapped or whatever. But I feel like Scully, the first time she's taken this season, which would be in Dwayne Barry, and then continuing on, I think she had to have some kind of link to the story. And then as we go in, we further learn that, like, Mulder's whole entire family is kind of involved in the whole situation. So it's interesting. And it was like Scully was taken, and then it was never really discussed again. And then it comes up in the finale, which I liked.
Yeah, they don't really relate back a lot to her being taken. They have sort of moments of it. You see it in Irresistible, where she's talking about how she's got some PTSD, but, like, they go right after she comes back. The next episode is Firewalker, and they don't really talk about it. I mean, Mulder mentions, like, do you think you're ready to go into the field and stuff, but they don't really dwell on it, and that'll continue. I mean, they'll eventually go back to it in seasons and talk about it, and it certainly has a lot to do with the overarching plot. I think the reason they don't call back to it more, I think, might have something to do with the fact that it was such a last-minute decision, because the mythology of the X-Files, and in my opinion, a large part of what made people love the show and why it lasted so long was all a fluke. Because at the end of the first season, Gillian Anderson got pregnant. And she had to broke it to David Duchovny first, and then Chris Carter's the executive producer. And they had to find a way, because of the way it was going to time out, was that she was going to be pregnant at the beginning of the second season, which you kind of notice because of the way they shoot her, you know, from neck up. And, you know, she puts on some weight because she's a tiny person. And so they had to figure out a way for Scully to go away, to not be there for at least one episode. And they actually managed to get her off for 2, except for one shot in Ascension. She's only in one shot when he opens the trunk.
Yeah.
So, you know, they had to write in this whole Scully gets kidnapped or abducted. She had to get abducted for a long period of time and then return and be able to just be laying in a hospital bed for an entire episode.
Yeah.
She came back 10 days after giving birth. And yes, I do know an awful lot about this. But so yeah, I think it's interesting that the mythology itself spawned from a desperate need to get the actress off the show for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it worked in their favor.
Oh, it worked completely in their favor. I don't think any of them would go back, but I always wonder, like, what would this show be?
Yeah, or like, what was the plan before that? Because it's very early in the season.
Yeah, exactly. What was the plan for season 2 if she hadn't gotten pregnant?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's an interesting question.
One that I'd really like to have answered at some point. I'd love to know what they were originally thinking for season 2. And, you know, did this alien plot, this government conspiracy, because obviously the government conspiracy played in before that. You see in the very first episode, you see cigarette smoking man put the thing in the nose in I think the Pentagon. But, you know, what role would it really have taken if they hadn't had to write this storyline? Yes. Now, speaking of Scully getting taken.
Okay.
I know you have a very big pet peeve about this season.
I do, because I was just like, I was halfway, I think I got up to like episode 15, and I, for those of you cool cats that follow me on Twitter, you would already see this, but I was just like she's almost taken every other episode, and it was getting exhausting for me, that I feel like, and we had a long discussion about it, that it was just like a cop-out. Like, they didn't know what to do with her character. So, Scully's gonna get taken. Like, if anyone watched this show and then wanted to join the FBI is beyond me, because it just seems like their agents are constantly in danger.
At least female agents.
Yeah. And it's just, it's just nuts. And I feel like the only reason it was happening was because she was a female, and because and in the same breath is also because she's associated with Mulder, who clearly you don't want to work with, because if you do, you'll be in danger every day of your life. Also, I think she should move her apartment, because clearly everyone knows where she lives, and she's constantly, like, a lot of shit happens at her apartment. For the fact that she still stays there is beyond me.
Oh, yeah, and that's gonna get worse.
But it was just like, I don't like to say it was lazy, but it seemed lazy, and it just seemed like maybe if it only happened once or twice within the season, okay, fine. But like, we're going on probably at least 5 to 7 episodes where she's either kidnapped, taken hostage, has, you know, some kind of virus almost infected on her. Like, it was just getting a little bit exhausting. And I do understand, you know, it's the 90s. It's a big deal. She is a female character, female lead character. She's also a female, playing a female FBI special agent, which is a big deal for, you know, 94, 95. But still, I think now watching it in 2015, it just doesn't live up to all the strong, powerful women that I'm currently watching on television, which isn't necessarily their fault, but it's just annoying.
Yeah, I think it's telling about the time period. I think it's telling about sort of, and I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure, at least early on, the X-Files writers' room was pretty much all dudes.
Makes sense.
I can't think offhand of any female writers, but I haven't really inspected, you know. Certainly the early seasons, I think, were probably all guys. And Mulder is, at least early on, very much the focus of the show. And sort of like how he reacts to things. And I've said this to you personally, but I'll say it again here. I think that has a lot to do with why they wrote that in several episodes, because they sort of know that, you know, they would react this way, or Mulder should react this way if his partner, especially being a female, I think there's a little bit of that protective instinct.
Yeah, which
we're in trouble. And I know you understand that. and that it's not an excuse. I agree that it's not an excuse.
Yeah.
I just think that's probably where the thought process was, and there wasn't a lot of like forcing them to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one was challenging them to do something different. And by the end of the season, we do see Scully sort of coming to Mulder's rescue a few times, at least once in the finale.
Yeah, but that's the episode prior to the finale is when they're dealing with the cannibals with the damn chicken, and she's almost got her freaking head chopped off.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, it was an ongoing plot line that I didn't feel necessary. And the one episode where it did really bother me was the one where she actually does deal with PTSD. Yeah. And they decide she doesn't think she can, she doesn't want to tell Mulder that she can't handle the case. So she does go back, she goes and she talks to, a psychiatrist, she goes through it, and then yet she still has to be, kind of taken hostage. And I didn't think that was a necessary plot, I think, point to the story or to the episode. I think they could have used a secondary character for that, just to be, we're already getting this whole, she doesn't want Mulder to feel like he needs to protect her. And I think it was a great story, character-driven story for Scully, and then it was kind of ruined once she was taken.
Yeah, because it ends up becoming sort of Mulder's
saving her.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I really like the episode Irresistible. I really like Donnie Vasco as a villain just because he's a real guy. He's not like supernatural. Yeah. He's not Toombs. He's not those people that were abducting Scully or trying to attack her before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with you, which is to say I agree with you, that it is probably a little bit lazy writing in that they didn't switch things up or use secondary characters. I don't know if I agree that they should have done that with that episode in particular, just because I do like how the episode plays out and how it deals with Scully and how it sort of forces her to let her guard down around Mulder, and I think that sort of changes their relationship a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't think it needed to happen so many other times, like in Endgame and Colony, at the end of Colony and pretty much the beginning of Endgame, the whole thing where she gets abducted by, the alien bounty hunter dude, and forced Mulder has to give up his sister in order to get her back, and like that was just an unnecessary, like Mulder has to choose between these two women in his life.
Yeah.
Situation, which I think is very much a guy writer thing.
Yeah.
To do.
I mean, it's just, you could compare it to anything. It's doing something to a female character to help push the male character story forward. And I feel like that's almost every time Scully's taken, it's to benefit Mulder's character development and not Scully's.
Or at least to push the narrative.
Yeah.
And not necessarily to push her character. Sorry.
Yeah. Except for, in, Dwayne Barry and Ascension, I think it not really present within this season, but I think that abduction will have a lasting effect on Scully personally versus on both and just Mulder. But the other episodes where it was just like, oh, well, we have like 5 more minutes to fill. Let him abduct Scully. Like that was how it felt for me.
Right. In some of the other episodes, it was very much like a means to get to the climax, sort of like a way to heighten the drama. Yeah. It was definitely that way in Our Town, which is the one with the chicken and the cannibals. I don't necessarily see why it had. I understand that it had to be her in the sense that everyone else was involved.
But why couldn't it be Mulder?
Yes, and because that didn't require any of Mulder's particular thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking outside the box, and
I mean, Scully could have figured it out just as fast as Mulder could have. So.
Right, exactly. So like that could easily have been Mulder. She does get abducted a lot. I do like, and one of the things I like about the finale also is that not only does she sort of have to help him by being kind of a badass. I mean, Mulder's gonna kill Krychek, so she has to shoot Mulder first, and it's always fun. And
she figures out that someone's been like lacing his water.
Right. It's very much Scully to the rescue, and Mulder going crazy.
Yeah.
Which I really like. I like a lot of she very much pulls things out, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of season 3 for the same reason. But I really like that episode also because they don't it's Mulder having to deal with the loss of his father, rather than like he's been dealing with his sister, and there's other stuff with his mom down the line. But like this time, it's his father and someone he has an iffy relationship with to begin with, and someone who we now know is intimately involved in the conspiracy. And I sort of like that relationship, even though you don't get to see it very much.
Yeah. I mean, I just like to say that like Mulder's father's house was like beautiful. Every time they went there, I was like, oh my God, why'd you want to leave? It was so pretty. Just a little,
Have to get out. He did actually move to England for college, so.
Yeah, he did.
He got very far away. So to sort of wrap things up here, favorite episode of the season?
It would probably be a toss-up between the premiere and the finale. Okay. They're both pretty strong.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it's probably Dwayne Barry.
Okay.
I really like that episode. Or Humbug. I like that one too.
There's a lot
of episodes in the middle that I really like. I also really like F. Emasculata because it's all sciencey and the disease and the.
Yeah, I mean, like Humbug's like the good like one-off, where it's like just like it just happens, and then we go back to our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Least favorite episode.
I mean, I guess 3, because I'm a vampire nerd. I love me some vampires, and it was just like a stupid vampire story. I just don't like it.
3 is one of my least favorite episodes of the whole show.
Yeah.
Because it takes this sort of amped up situation that we've gotten into after Dwayne Barry and Ascension, and then it just goes to grinding halts.
Yeah, it was lame.
Yeah, and they try to do the sort of Anne Rice vampire romance weirdness, and just the whole vibe of the episode is wrong, and I hate it.
Like, vampires are romantic and classical and sexy, and there was nothing like really romantic or sexy about it. Like, they tried, but it failed miserably.
And I mean, I understood like they're trying to inject like that religious thing because Scully is missing, and so religious, but
cross and shit.
No, I hate that episode.
I do like Dwayne Barry because we haven't mentioned Mulder and a Speedo.
Oh, Mulder and a Speedo. Yeah, Dwayne Barry is always going to be high on my list because of Mulder and a Speedo. I think you messaged me and said something about Mulder being in a Speedo, and I went, Dwayne Barry!
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, season 2 is so much better because Mulder's in a Speedo right now. And you're like, oh my God, that's the best episode. Like, you know exactly what episode every time I describe something. Like, even when I said, I'm getting kind of sick of Scully always being taken, you're like, oh, are you on this episode? I'm like, yes.
I kind of figured you'd been on Irresistible at that episode because that's sort of the most glaringly obvious Scully gets captured episode. No, that's going to keep happening. We have 7 more seasons and 2 movies to go, so that's going to happen a lot more.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah. I mean, I'm trucking through it, but as a 2015 modern feminist, it's a little but
I think you like where things start to go with Scully, and the story gets to be a little bit more about her. So speaking of which, as a newbie, I can't really talk about my hopes and dreams for the future, but because I already know what's going to happen. What are you hoping to see in the next season?
Well, I really hope Mulder survives.
I know, it's really a nail biter, that finale where Mulder kind of gets blown up inside a tree.
I don't know how I'm going to wait the next 5 minutes to go watch the season 3 premiere to know if he made it.
I don't know if you're going to make it through.
I know. So, I mean, that's my number one thing I want out of season 3 is for Mulder to live.
Lofty thing.
Huh?
Lofty.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I know I'm not going to get anything I want because I want Scully to stop being taken. I know that's not going to happen. I would like to know the name of the guy that's constantly smoking cigarettes, but that's not going to happen. Does he ever get a name?
Yes, he does.
Okay. I want to know where the
frick... He gets a name, and it's a huge letdown.
It's probably like Bob. Is it Bob?
No, it's not Bob.
I want to know where frickin' Samantha Mulder is. I really, there's like, I don't know how to even make a prediction for this show.
Yeah, it's really difficult, especially because so many of the things that you want are part of the mythology.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to get there for so long if you ever get there.
That's what I mean. Like, I feel like the things that I want to predict, I probably won't ever get. If not, I'll probably get them in, like, the season 9. So, like, what's the point?
We've ruined your guessing spirit.
Yeah, but, like, the whole thing is, like, and I honestly don't know. Like, I do know Mulder survives. Like, that's kind of, like, that's, like, probably the only thing I do know. Other than that, I really don't know anything about the series. So,
I kind of love that, and I really want to keep you unspoiled. So people in the comments, assuming that you comment, whether you're commenting here on YouTube or on Twitter or on Facebook or on allgeektome.net, where this will be posted later, please let us know what you think of season 2 of the X-Files, what you are looking forward to from future seasons, favorite episode of this season, least favorite episode of this season, what you think about Mulder and a speedo, and what you think about Scully getting kidnapped. All those things, leave them in the comments, but please try not to leave spoilers past season 2. I really want to see if we can keep Kait unspoiled throughout the whole.
I will welcome, if you guys want to tell me minute marks from season 3 of when Mulder's in a speedo, that's fine.
Okay, you're not going to get any of those. He's never in a speedo again.
Really?
He is mostly naked in one episode in season 5.
Like butt? Like, do we see butt cheek?
You don't see butt. You can't.
Did I do butt cheek in 97?
I don't think you could do butt cheek in 97. So we do get to see him like huddled up in the shower.
So what's mostly naked? Like, what's 97 mostly naked? Like, I'm used to watching, like, you know, Game of Thrones here, where I've seen everything.
Okay, basically all you're gonna see is torso.
So it's like what, like him wearing pants,
like him not wearing a shirt. You might see him. You see him in his underwear a few times, I think.
I saw he was in his underwear in the finale.
Yeah, I think that happens a few more times. I
mean, like the speedo, he's wet, so it was like.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of that, but you do. They do play up the sexual attraction of Fox Mulder a few more times.
Yeah,
you'll get a little more.
It's present. It's there. You can see it.
Dude can wear a suit.
Yeah, and a funky tie.
And a funky tie.
Yeah,
all over. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. This has been 2 Chicks, 1 Show, X-Files, Season 2. We'll be back with Season 3 in just a few weeks, as soon as Kait can actually watch it. Leave your comments, questions in the comments, or you can tweet us. I'm at Tricia Ennis. She's at Kait Calabro. Hashtag 2 Chicks, 1 Show. At allgeek2me.net is the website, allgeektome.net. We've been nominated for a Geeky Award, so awesome. There will be voting coming up. Okay, you have to see you freak out.
Yeah. Woo! My Kermit Phil. Yeah, so like to our three people that watch our show, make sure to vote for us.
Many, many times. You can vote once per day starting in August. We will post the link everywhere.
Yeah.
We're very excited about it. We get to go to Santa Monica in October, so it's going to be fun. And we will see you next time.